Hello and welcome to the Stabler and Friends podcast. I'm your host. It's February 19th. It's almost 3:00 p.m. I'm your host, Stabler, and today we're going to be doing some sports talk. No friends today, so just me rambling a little bit about some sports. Let's start it off with my recap of the Super Bowl from last Sunday. Give you a little backstory about my day. We hosted a party, had about 15 people over, made sure that the spread was on point. That's 101 of Super Bowl etiquette. We had our little smokies, the chips and dip, veggie trays, chicken salad sandwiches. I even made something called tachos. This is a stolen recipe that I've stolen from a bar in Ogden called the Funkin' Dive, and they sell tater tot nachos. Basically, it's like a pile of tots, basically, covered in cheese, a little bit of ranch drizzle, sour cream, some jalapenos, and some black olives, and they are so bomb. They turned out great. But I'm disappointed, guys. I missed out. I messed up on the centerpiece, the wings. We ended up buying some frozen wings from Sam's Club. We had some like good sauces ready, all pre-made. Everything was looking good. Tried to bake them. Followed the instructions. I don't know if it's our oven doesn't cook as well or if the wings just weren't thought out enough or what the deal was, but they took forever. And by the time they were done, they looked so gross. They looked like they were still basically raw, even though they were heated. A couple people tried them. They said they tasted good. Nobody else touched them. So if anybody is a wing master, I haven't got a smoker yet. I know that's the way to go, but if you got any other tips from a grill to a oven to a stovetop, something like that, please let me know. I'm scared of deep frying because I always heard about fires and I don't trust myself. I'm barely getting past the SpaghettiOs in the microwave in a pot level. That's kind of my cooking level. So working my way up. Apparently wings were a little too hard. I would love some wings tips because I absolutely love wings and I absolutely don't like paying too much for them at other establishments. Watched the game. Missed a little bit of the first of it, had to deal with some issues at work. But overall, I watched the whole game. I thought it was excellent, in my opinion. There was a lot of back and forth, and the refs were actually letting them play for the most part up until the end. I'm sure if you're a sports fan, you've been listening to a lot of recap of the Super Bowl. We all know that there was the flags. Should have not been thrown, but I'm not too upset that it was thrown. Anyways, Matt Stafford had a game-winning drive with little help from those penalty flags, and he won his first Super Bowl championship. I'll talk about the flags one more time. I thought they were a little ticky-tacky, but I mean, like, that's what the NFL is these days. We never know what they're going to call. Like, if it's your team and you just had a good play, you're always sitting there like tense for 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, saying, hope they don't throw a flag. Please don't throw a flag. Please don't throw a flag. And then it comes in and then you're just devastated, or you get through it and then you can ride on, go to the next play. I don't know the answer to that. It's hard for a ref to do things that quickly. I totally get where they're coming from. Sometimes conspiracy Stabler, who's always had bad teams that I root for, thinks that maybe they're a little favor of certain people, but just for the record, Matt Stafford has been playing in the same division as Aaron Rodgers for the last 12 years before that. So I bet he was just as surprised to see a crucial flag go his way for once. Being in that, my conspiracy theory again, I think that the Packers get all the calls and the Lions never do. And they've even had like days of sports centers where they talk about it the next day. Like, what happened? Why was this called? Why was this defensive penalty called? But that's for another day. I'm sure you'll hear me complain about it. Packers fans probably stop listening to me. So I'm a fan of social media for sports. I follow a lot of people from a lot of different fandoms. There are right now Bengals fans still complaining that the Bengals need to get Burrow some protection after he was sacked more times in the Super Bowl than a Bukkake film. Here's the thing. The Bengals had the opportunity to draft Penny Sewell this last year. That's an offensive tackle who actually turned out to have a pretty damn good season. But instead, they decided to go with a receiver. I don't know if you guys have heard of this guy, but his name's Ja'Marr Chase. And he's incredible. And the Bengals might not have even made the playoffs without Chase. And I can guarantee they wouldn't have made it to the Super Bowl without him. So ownership needs to make decisions. And most of the time you can't have your cake and eat it too. They couldn't have got that lineman and Ja'Marr Chase. Like, I mean, maybe, possibly, that you never know. But I just think that they made the call that they felt was best. And apparently I think it worked out overall. They were right there, super close to winning the Super Bowl, right? there is an opportunity for them to upgrade their offensive line this year for the Bengals too. But who knows if the Bengals will ever have another opportunity in the Super Bowl again with this core roster. Burrow, he looks great, right? He's the hot quarterback right now. We've seen this before. We've seen these reactions with Patrick Mahomes. We've seen these with Lamar Jackson, and even for a while, like someone of the lines of Baker Mayfield. Now, if there's any type of regression, they are under a microscope. These quarterbacks have been figured out, or they don't know what they're doing anymore. The game's too fast for them, and it's just these hot take narratives that people like to do. You know, they just want to say something so they can get a rise out of somebody or argue it, things like that. I think he's going to have a great career. I don't know how he'll react as a young, cocky kid when he does get put under pressure like that. I mean, I feel like Baker Mayfield has a similar personality. He had some really good games, and then the media turned on him, and he hasn't handled it very well on the field and off, in my personal opinion. Still a big fan of his. I hope that he regroups. But anyways, I don't know where that's going to go with Burrow. You never know how they're going to react until they do. So we'll see how it goes. I personally do not see the Bengals making it back in the near future. You have to go through Josh Allen. You have to go through Patrick Mahomes. Maybe Aaron Rodgers goes to the Broncos. Like, the AFC is tough with some solid quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, I mean, we've mentioned a ton of them, and it's so hard to get back to the Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers is arguably a top 5, maybe top 2 quarterback of all time, and he's only made it to the Super Bowl once, and that was after they barely got in as the last wild card and got on a hot run. So you just never know what's going to happen. Bengals, you had a hell of a run. It was a lot of fun. I just want to let the fans know I'm sorry for your loss, but please stop complaining about that last minute flag when we all know that Jalen Ramsey was face mask because he was yanked so hard on that T. Higgins 75-yard touchdown. So, I mean, the flags come, but I don't know. Be happy with that run you had. Keep moving forward. Keep staying positive. You're not going to win the Super Bowl you're not going to make it to the Super Bowl every year, but hey, you guys still have a franchise quarterback, which is more than a lot of teams can say, and hopefully you guys can keep going in that direction. In between the game, halftime show. That was a lot of fun for people my age. The more seasoned crowd of viewers, not so much. I got on social media right after that, just while I was on commercials, and man, it was like anybody that was like my dad's age, my mom's age, like area like that, they're like, what the hell was this? This is awful. Everybody that's my friends on social media that went to school with saying, best halftime show ever. This was amazing. I was on the this was amazing part. I'm very nostalgic to West Coast hip hop. That was like the start of me for hip hop was late 90s, early 2000s. I remember listening to my buddy's Chronic 2001 album and like just thinking, wow, this is pretty cool. Eminem's pretty cool. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg's been my favorite for a very long time. So we always go a little extra at parties at my house. My wife makes fun of me because I like to do things that I think are kind of fun and over the top. But anyways, for the halftime show, we went to buy some 40s because we thought it'd be fun to have a 40 and drink and watch and dance for the concert. In Utah, though, you can only get 40s at the liquor store, and I went out on a Sunday, so they had 32 ounces. So we had the quarts, but that didn't stop us from crip walking up on top of the Devil's Roof. You know what I'm saying? That does have to be my favorite halftime show. The nostalgia, it hit hard. Rams on cloud 9, won the Super Bowl. A couple days later, the Rams get to have their celebration. The parade looked very intimate with the lack of people who showed up. Not as many people as the Patriots usually get in other cities, but I know there is the restrictions in California, so I'm not exactly sure if it's just lack of fans or there are restrictions going on. But I'm betting Matt Stafford could have had a better day and done one or two things different that day. It would show to him he's having the time of his life. He's taking pulls off any booze that he can find, having a great time, standing up on a stage. A photographer is looking at him, gets ready to take a step back, falls off the stage. And it looks like it's a good fall. I don't know how far it is, but I'd say maybe 10 feet, right? Stafford looked down and basically kind of did like a laughing or like a shocked, like, oh shit. And he pivoted, walked away, and did the none of my business with his water bottle and it just wasn't a good look at all. His wife looked a little more concerned. It cuts off after that, so I'm not exactly sure what happens after that. But tons of backlash. Matt Stafford's always been one of my favorites, but that was not a good look. It kind of took away a little bit of my respect for him. They did pay for all of her medical bills. The poor girl got a broken spine. I don't know. It's probably a PR stunt, but at least she's getting taken care of, and I hope that she gets feeling better. Ouch, that looks bad. I gotta confess something to you guys though. I have a similar story of the Matt Stafford thing. I used to go up to Weber State University, and you'd have to ride this little bus up to get on campus because there's no parking, and it was wintertime during the snow, and you're like walking like a little penguin, just like baby steps, just trying to make sure you don't slide. They had pretty good shoveling squad on the stairs and things like that, but I'm running a little bit late, and there's this little shortcut that you can cut across if you want to just cut like it'll literally only cut off like 20 seconds because you're just cutting through like a corner or whatever. I'm about 5-7 steps away from this girl. I'm got my backpack, I'm waddling, she's waddling, she takes the shortcut. I'm like, all right, let's take the shortcut. And she slipped on ice, fell on her butt, and literally I just said, oh shit. And I turned around and pivoted and went the other way. And I still to this day feel horrible about that. I think at the time I was a little more reserved and with strangers and socially awkward and things like that. But I hope that this stays with Matt Stafford. He learns how to that affects other people and he becomes a better person, because I had a similar story and I literally just said, oh shit, turned around and went the other way. And she got up. She was fine. Like I saw her out of the corner of my eye, but still, I could have been better. I could have been better. Other things I'm trying to get better at is moving along with the times, staying with the times, with the progressive times that are happening. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm wearing my new hat. Got my new hat in yesterday. It's the official hat of the Cleveland Guardians, formerly known as the Cleveland Indians. I've had a hard time with this because I've loved the Indians my entire life. I've always thought it was honoring them by rooting for the Indians, but as life goes on, things change. You learn from other people's perspectives that maybe that isn't the way that it should go. I personally I think I'm okay with the name change at this point. I fought it for a while. I did. I really loved it, the name of it. I loved the Chief Wahoo logo. I don't know. If you're watching on camera, I still have my Chief bobblehead doll, but I wish it wasn't the Guardians. I think the Guardians is such a dumb name, and it's mostly because why they picked it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, the Guardians, they have in Cleveland, they have these bridges with statues, and they're pretty nice statues of these Guardian warriors, and they're all holding one's holding a horse and carriage, the other one's holding a car, something's holding something else, another type of vehicle. Anyways, they're the guardians of traffic. The guardians of traffic for this bridge that has wrecks daily. On the daily, there's wrecks. What are they guarding? It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. The spiders scare the hell out of me. That's what the name could have been. That's what they were before they were the Indians. I'm still going to fight this. And even if we are the Guardians, we got to get a better logo than this C. Did you know it was Cleveland? Or did you think it was Calgary? Did you think it was Connecticut? Block letters are lame. Unless you're nostalgic, notorious for the B of Boston, the LA for Dodgers, the NY for Yankees, come on, get a little something going there. Get something cool. It's 2022 and you had an opportunity, the owners did, and hey, they just dropped the ball. Baseball spring training was supposed to start. It's getting pushed back now because they're in a lockout, meaning that the players and the owners can't come to an agreement of who gets so many millions which way. I am personally in favor of the players. I think not necessarily everybody's talking about the big millionaires like Mookie Betts, who's making $350 million over the next 10 years, or Carlos Correa, whatever he's going to make, Francisco Lindor. I'm more concerned about these players in the minor leagues who are coming up, and they get their little window and they do well for a couple years, but they have these rookie arbitration contracts where they can't get paid. The owners basically have them locked for 7 years. which I like that it keeps the teams together, but it's just not a good look for baseball. They need to get the lower people paid up to the higher people. I don't know if they necessarily, the higher people need to be paid as much as they are, but I don't think the owners need to be paid as much as they are. I think we need to lower some ticket prices and memorabilia for the common folk who love to watch it like me. So we need to get to agreement, or else I need to find a new hobby to come up with this summer. I'm trying. I don't know what happened. I used to idolize everybody in the NBA, and the older I get, like I can have it on as background, but it's not anything that I sit down and watch very often. I don't like that they're allowed to travel. This is boomer me. I don't like that they can double dribble. I don't like the flops. I don't like any of that. And they don't even really put that much effort, I don't feel like, until the last quarter, like maybe in the last 6 minutes of the last quarter of the fourth quarter. I watched the Jazz and Lakers the other day. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night. And as a casual Jazz fan, this was so frustrating. LeBron, towards the final minutes of the game, LeBron literally locks up. The Lakers are on offense. He locks up with Royce O'Neal, pushes him 3 steps back, waddles him back 3 steps, locks into his arm. And then when Royce tries to put his hands up to get away, straight up hands up, LeBron flops on his back. And the foul was called on O'Neal. Now, I don't know if it was this year or last year or 2 years ago, but they do have a review in place where the refs can go look at the cameras and you can challenge even fouls, and they can make the right call. So anyways, the Jazz challenge it. The refs stare at it forever, what felt like forever. They said that they were overturning the call, but instead of calling the foul offensive, which it clearly was, they just said inadvertent whistle. Like, what the hell is that? You blew the whistle. You made the call. You saw the call was wrong, but you don't overturn it because why? Because you're in the King's house, because this is LeBron James and it's on national television. Like, wouldn't you want to be on national television getting something right so the fans can see that you actually care about parity and making the game right instead of just forcing it to the superstars, the all-stars? So anyways, the Lakers maintained possession. They scored. The next possession by the Jazz, Royce O'Neal was in the corner, pump faked, got open for a 3, panicked, tried to pass it out, turned it over. Game over, basically. I can't do it. That stuff frustrates me. I don't know why. I'm really gonna try. Like, I'm gonna give it a good effort, but right now I'm just so into college basketball over the NBA. I like it because I just feel like there's so many young kids like really, really going at it. There's a different ball game. There are mistakes. There's grittiness. I really like a lot of college basketball, and mostly I like it because I've been hot lately in gambling. Woo-hoo. If you are listening to this, I'm going to try and give you guys a hot tip. I think with my hot streak, the way it's been going, if you guys a way to put a bet down, I think Kansas -5 tonight. I know they're on the road. I don't care. It's against West Virginia. I don't care. This isn't the same West Virginia team that we've seen over the years. It's not the traditional gritty Bob Huggins team. They're slacking. I think that this spread is closer because of the Bob Huggins stereotype, the stigma. But I think Kansas is easy money tonight. If you're looking ahead for the March Madness tournament and you have a chance to watch some games, there's a few teams outside of like the very top tippity top teams that I like. In the top tier, though, I do like Arizona lately. Check them out. They're very fast paced. They score a lot. They have good defense. Texas Tech, their resume speaks for itself. They just keep being underdogs and keep beating teams like Baylor. They keep beating teams like they beat Texas today. So they're a solid team. And then finally, Purdue, they look like the teams when I do watch March Madness that can somehow get to the basket and get and ones all the time. And if they need to, they can flip it out for a 3-pointer, get open. Good ball movement. 3 teams to watch for: Arizona, Texas Tech, and Purdue. I think they're all coming together very nicely. I'll get into more college hoops when we get closer to the tournaments. And that is all I have for today. Please like and subscribe so you know when to tune in next time. This has been the Stabler and Friends podcast. I'm Stabler. Thanks for being my friend. Thank you for being my friend.